Hans Franck was a German writer. He was born in 1879 in Wittenberg and attended the teacher seminar in Neukloster, teaching primary school in Hamburg between 1901 and 1911. In 1914 he became the dramaturg of the Schauspielhaus Düsseldorf and head of the Düsseldorf Theatre Academy. He foresaw the creation of the Third Reich as far back as 1922 in his novel Das Dritte Reich, ein Glaubenskenntnis. After the invasion of Poland, he wrote for the National Socialist Krakauer Zeitung. He died in 1964 in Frankenhorst in Schwerin. Today we will review his 1926 Mutter, Tod und Teufel, 5 legendäre Novellen aus dem deutschen Osten, or A Mother, Death and the Devil, 5 legendary novellas from the German East. The Hermit and his Pear Tree has Father Laurentius leave the sinful monastery of Komerau in order to become a hermit. He gives away all he has, like Diogenes, but a small pear tree, given to him as he left the gates of the monastery forever. This he plants next to his hut, rewarded by a great harvest of pears every year, but one which the local people steal from, flagrantly, no matter how much he raves. One day, after the monastery of Komerau was swallowed up by the earth for its sinfulness, he is to give shelter unknowingly to Jesus of the Nazarene variety, and in return he is given the power to hold anyone captive in his pear tree, if uttering a magic verse. Then, as he reaches his 100th year, he is visited by death and banishes him into his pear tree, but as he celebrates he breaks both his legs, and then chokes on a pear, his decayed corpse found among a mountain of pears much later. The Kashubian musician has the violinist beg the devil to make him unbeatable by any living musician, and so for 40 years dominates the hearts and souls of his peasantry, before another arrives to challenge him, the both of them playing even as a flood sweeps over, the man thinking he will outplay the other as he is shorter and must drown first, but then he sees his opponent towering to the very heavens themselves. A Mother, Death and the Devil is rather meandering. It begins with Gita, the wife of a ferryman, agonizing every time her husband goes out in his boat because of a dream she had that one day he will pick up Death and will get thrown into the river to drown. After many years, her husband does pick up Death, who beats him to death in a local pub. Gita is thrown out of the house with her newborn, and will drown herself had not the fishers built her a tiny hut to live in. There she finds her son Cord is deathly sick, and who does she accidentally offer a place to stay the night and some soup, but Death himself. When he has eaten her soup he takes the boy and runs, Gita pursuing him over forest and river, meeting a variety of rhyming angels along the way, before finally getting to the throne of the King of Death. Her son is to live, but must offer himself up to voluntary death in front of his throne in 30 years. Gita knows telling her son about his impending doom would ruin his life, and naturally she tells him. This drives Cord into the hands of the devil, selling his soul for knowledge of making magic circles that Death cannot enter. But on the day itself it turns out Death can just grow mushroom-like inside the circle anyway, so he sold his soul for nothing. But Gita comes back from the dead and runs with her son along the same path she did 30 years ago, where he gives himself willingly to the new King of Death to escape the devil. The story changes focus so much it becomes a bit tedious to read, and the first section with Gita's husband could be omitted entirely. The Deaf and the Rabbi has Rabbi Löw prevent the plague from wiping out his community by stealing the Angel of Death's list except for one tiny scrap which of course has his name on it. And it is obvious the whole time this will be the twist. Ich bin Din has a knight go plant a cowslip in the Holy Land before his fiancée will agree to marry him, but when he arrives she is dead. So she rises from the dead, marries him in a church full of dead people, and the two lie down in the same coffin. The first 2 stories are the best, the others go on for too long or run out of steam.